Hi, everybody. My name is Mark Davis. I'm on the leadership team at Full Stack Academy, and I run our cybersecurity school, Full Stack Cyber Bootcamp. I want to welcome you to this course, Cyber On-Ramp Linux Command Line for Beginners. In this video, I'm going to give you an overview of the course, including who this course is for, when you should take this course, why you should take this course, what you'll learn, and how the course works. So let's get started. First of all, who is this course for? Well, quite simply, anyone who is considering a career in cybersecurity or has already decided on this career path and is doing their technical training. So for example, maybe you're just out of high school and looking to begin a career in cybersecurity, or maybe you're even still in high school and looking to get a jump on things. Similarly, maybe you're just out of college starting your career or still in college, or maybe you are a career switcher, switching from one industry into cybersecurity. If you're in any of those categories, then this is going to be a good course for you to take. Now, when should you take the course? Well, basically, it's one of the first steps in your technical training. Now, in terms of your technical training, there are different options, and you may be on any one of these journeys, right? Maybe you're taking an undergraduate degree in cybersecurity. It's going to take you about 4 years. Maybe you've already got an undergraduate degree in computer science. Now you're doing a master's in cyber. Going to take you about 2 years. Maybe you're self-studying. Not easy, but it can be done. Going to take you 12, 18, 24 months. Or maybe you're looking to accelerate your technical training by attending a cybersecurity bootcamp, either part-time, which is going to take you about 6 months, or full-time, going to take you about 3 months. Now, no matter which path you're taking, what you're going to want to do before you really begin any of these paths is learn to work in the command line. Now, first of all, what is the command line? Well, you're seeing it here. The command line is a way to control a computer other than the way that you're probably used to, which is a GUI, or graphical user interface. So with a command line, instead of moving a mouse around, you're typing text-based commands into your computer. It's a really powerful way to control a computer, and it's a very commonly used tool amongst cybersecurity practitioners. Now, the reason I recommend that you try working in the command line before you commit to this career is because you want to understand two questions. First of all, do you enjoy working in the command line? And does it become easy for you, right? And if the answer is yes to both of those questions after you've spent some time working the command line, then I'd recommend you continue your technical training. Now, I want to focus specifically on what this looks like if you're going to a cybersecurity bootcamp, specifically Full Stack Cyber Bootcamp. So the basic idea at Full Stack Cyber Bootcamp is you go from beginner to employable cybersecurity professional in 17 weeks. So you begin your journey taking a course called Hacking 101, which is where you learn what it's really like to work in cybersecurity and if this is a good path for you. Now, what we're trying to do in Hacking 101 is sort of paint a picture for you of what it's like to work in cyber. And we're answering common questions that people ask, right? Where would I start? What would I need to learn? How hard would it be to learn that stuff? Would I like the actual day-to-day work? What would my career path look like? And how much money would I make if I go into this field? Basically, what we're trying to do with Hacking 101 is to capture your imagination. That's step one. And inspire you to pursue a career in this field. If you are inspired and you do want to go down this path and you want to attend the boot camp, the next step is to apply. And there are a couple things that you can do while you're applying. So we have an Introduction to Hacking workshop, which is a 3-hour workshop in cryptography, live online workshop where you can attend with other students. And then there's this course, Cyber On-Ramp Linux Command Line for Beginners, which takes about 25 hours to complete. Then you go into the 17-week program, including 4 weeks of pre-work that we call Foundations, then the actual boot camp, and then after you graduate, you go into a period called Flight, which is where you're doing your job search and going deeper into your studies with the goal, in terms of keeping a beginning with an ending in mind, the goal of going to a boot camp like this is to get hired as a cybersecurity practitioner, specifically as a security analyst or what we call a penetration tester. Now, what's interesting about this course is Cyber On-Ramp is actually the first 25% of Foundations. So Foundations is 100 hours spread out over 4 weeks. So you're actually taking the first 25% of Foundations when you take Cyber On-Ramp. What this means is you're sort of able to hack the process to save yourself 25 hours of time. Now, if you do this, when you get into Foundations, 25% of Foundations will actually be review for you. So you're one step ahead from the beginning. And like I mentioned before, this concept, try working in the command line to see if you like it before committing to the boot camp. And you can do this for free since it's a free course. So just to sum up, no matter what path you're going down, you're going to want to try working in the command line before you commit to that. Now, why should you take this course? Well, we just talked about it, right? To try working in the command line before committing to working in cyber and make sure you enjoy this kind of work. Let's get into what you will learn. So first of all, we're going to talk about the basics of Linux. We're going to give you a brief history and we're get you familiar with a distribution of Linux called Kali Linux, which is used widely in the information security industry. I'm going to show you how to use basic Linux commands and the Linux file system, how to navigate around in Linux, create files, move and rename files, remove files and directories, and view contents of a file. So those are the basics. Then we're going to send you into the Cyber Lab. Now, the Cyber Lab is where you'll participate in Capture the Flag challenges. Capture the Flag challenges are exercises commonly used in cybersecurity to test skills, to test concepts, to make sure that you understand them. So after this first section, you'll go into the Cyber Lab for the first time. Then we'll teach you about search tools like locating files, how to use wildcards, and how to search the contents of a file back into the Cyber Lab. Linux filters. We're going to talk about content filtering and quantification, input, output, and error handling and redirection, and then file analysis tools back into the lab. We're going to start layering on security concepts. So we're going to talk about something called the 3 essential rules, restrictiveness, simplicity, and methodology. Then we're going to show you how to manage users and groups, specifically something called the etc directory, creating users, creating groups, understanding file permissions, setting file permissions, setting the SUID and SGID, and additional resources back into the lab. Going to start talking a little bit more about the Linux environment, right, including processes, managing your toolkit, and variables, aliases, and editors back into the lab. And then once you've covered that core material, we're actually going to show you a set of solution videos which recaps everything that you've just learned just to reinforce that material. Now, at the end of this course, we actually get into something that's not related to Linux or the command line, but this is security fundamentals, right? And we're going to show you a curated list of videos from someone named Professor Messer. So if you don't know Professor Messer, he's well known within IT training and security training. He's produced hundreds of videos which are relevant to different certifications. If you're familiar with the A+, Net+, Security+, he's got a whole suite of training videos for these, but not all of them, they're all good. Not all of them are relevant to pursuing a career in cybersecurity. So what we've done is we've created a short list of these videos which are most relevant to your journey in cybersecurity. So first of all, we're going to talk about this, give you an overview of security and talk about a really important concept called the security mindset. Then we're going to get into cryptography, which is an important underlying technology in cyber. Give you an overview of that, talk about symmetric and asymmetric encryption, hashing and digital signatures, and something called weak encryption. And then we're going to get into the big picture of threats, attacks, and vulnerabilities. What is the difference between a threat and a vulnerability? Going to talk about different types of malware, different types of attacks, different threat actors, and different types of vulnerabilities. Now, how does the course work? Well, your instructor is Corey Greenwald, and he is actually the lead instructor at Full Stack Cyber Boot Camp. He's an incredible talent. You're going to love his lectures. They're fun, they're energetic, and he's a really inspiring instructor. You're going to love learning under him. And what he does is he's got a bunch of short, digestible lectures on each of these topics where you'll learn the material before you go into the Cyber Lab. The course length, like I mentioned before, it'll take you about 25 hours to complete. So with that, I want to welcome you to Cyber OnRamp, Linux command line for beginners. One more time, we do recommend you take Hacking 101 before you start this course. If you just can't wait to start this course, you can get started. Then I'd recommend you loop back and take Hacking 101. So with that, I will hand it off to Corey to take it from here.